Well, returning to our focus on the union budget, which was announced in Parliament yesterday, we've been getting all sorts of reactions. What exactly has it meant? It's been met with a fairly resounding thumbs up, certainly in the market, but different people say that a lot is really there in the fine print which needs to be analysed. Joining us now, Rajiv Kumar of the Niti Aayog. Thanks very much for being with us. Something that strikes you about the budget right up off the top is the increased expenditure on health, which has gone up dramatically. In your mind, would you say that this is pretty much the highlight?
Vishnu, this is for me the expected aspect of the budget, given the pandemic that we had and the weaknesses that were shown up in our public health infrastructure. And I think therefore this in some sense meets the expectations. But what goes beyond our expectations is the budget's focus and ramping up of public capital expenditure by 34%. And if you include the 2 lakh crore that the budget is promised to hand over to the states, if they take up their CAPEX programs, this increases enormously, I think almost up to 70%. Because that is the instrument for restarting the economic engine of the economy in a situation where private investment has been shy and has not been forthcoming, because that is the only way to push forward with economic growth and to attract private investment back into the economy and then generate the multiplier effects which will accelerate economic growth,
right,
and also create jobs for our young people. That to me is the critical factor.
You mentioned capital expenditure. There is a big hike in capital expenditure is what the finance minister had to say. There is also a new infrastructure pipeline in the works. Would you say that the commitments which have been made towards capital expenditure and the fiscal deficit going up to 9.5% and the infrastructure pipeline are enough to give us, besides just the infrastructure, the jobs which they promote?
This is, as you can imagine, this is critical. But I think what we need, because our companies, our corporates suffer from an infrastructure deficit and a higher cost of physical infrastructure, which makes them incompetitive to the rest of the world, and therefore they are not able to expand their scale or their exports as they should be. Because once they are able to do that, then they will of course generate more employment and expand their capacities. Along with that is the issue of logistics, which they need to improve, and the energy costs. But I think the focus has to be on the implementation of this pipeline and to make sure that all these projects which are there do get completed, and because as and when they do, they will actually make a significant improvement in overcoming the infrastructure deficit with which the economy has been plagued for decades.
One of the concerns which have been raised is taxing the employees' provident fund. To begin with, social security in our country is a huge problem. Was it necessary for this government to tax employees' provident fund, thereby changing retirement plans or just the cash reserves that ordinary employees across the economy have?
No, but I didn't hear anything in the speech about the EPFO increases. Could you just give me some more details about that, Vishnu?
Yeah, there's a very large percentage which is being taxed. There is a tax-free component, but beyond that, the government is actually taxing the employees' provident fund, and this is actually something that's going to affect a lot of people, not even necessarily people who earn a huge amount. That's
probably been done to stop the higher paid workers from taking advantage of this, and to make sure that the EPFO remains the social security net for those whose salaries are have a ceiling. But the honest answer is that I have not looked into this,
right,
and therefore I may not be able to comment fully on it.
All right. Well, Mr. Kumar, thank you very much. Rajiv Kumar, Vice Chairman of the Niti Aayog, his views on some of the aspects of the budget which we've seen.